Hey, what's up, you guys? Willie Jacob here to bring you my review of this week's episode of the Vampire Diaries on the CW. This week we've seen Season 8, Episode 8, which was called We Have History Together. And, of course, we're off the bat apologizing for the lateness of this review. I had to work last night, so I missed the initial airing, but I did watch it this afternoon. We're down to, the last, 7 or 8 episodes of the entire series. Still sort of have mixed feelings about it. I'm kind of eager for it to get to the end so I can see how they're deciding to wrap up things. But at the same time, I'm trying to get back into the mindset of, cherishing these last few episodes, I guess, because I know there's going to be a point where I wish there were new episodes again, but all good things must come to an end, right? But though, admittingly, I just kind of want to see the conclusion. I'm not really over enthused to review it week to week, besides the final couple of episodes, but I'm going to do it. I've stuck with the show this long, and it has been, I still say, a pretty decent season so far. Certainly not the best, but I feel like we've had, weaker ones as far as, the threats go and stuff like that, which I've talked about before. But this episode, the mid-season premiere, it was a solid one. I don't think it was, the greatest episode of the series or anything like that, but this is a fine episode. We're kind of seeing Stefan and Damon, sort of on different playing fields now. With Damon sort of getting in touch with a shred of his humanity again, with Elena's necklace and such. And then, of course, Stefan just probably going to one of his lowest points again, due to making the deal with Cade and such. So you kind of see him on two different wavelengths. In a way, I'm kind of glad that, that we're, for the last few episodes, we're not just going to see Damon being evil Damon right up until the end, where hopefully Elena returns. We're going to see, more of our balanced Damon, before the end of the series, so it's good to know that we're going to see Damon somewhat or more so in his right mind, besides the last episode. So I'm glad he wasn't completely under the influence like that, for the rest of the series. The episode mainly centers around him and Stephanie on their travels, trying to find, candidates for, Cade, truly evil souls and, people and stuff like that. And I like the anger management opening, where they basically end up compelling the guy to admit he doesn't really care about any of the people he's talking to here, and that he'd pretty much eagerly, give their lives before his own would be taken. So I like how that was done. It was morbidly sort of funny in a way. So I like that. Another thing I want to mention is that this episode was also directed by Ian Somerhalder, of course, obviously plays Damon. If you watch the show and don't know who Ian Somerhalder is, come on. But he directed this episode. I know Paul Wesley's done it a few times as well, and this is another one for Ian Somerhalder here, which is cool. So all the camera work and everything was fine. We also had Caroline dealing with Sybil in this episode, which I was kind of confused by at first, because last we seen Sybil had her heart torn out by Damon. So it's a little bit weird that they want to bring that up again. But the explanation, maybe I missed something, but the explanation I'm going with is that, he's seen what happened when, I'm probably forgetting something here, but I think when Damon, when Alaric and Matt, killed Damon, and then he was brought back because Cade wasn't done with him yet. So maybe it's a case where, Sybil was killed, but Cade brought her back or something because her purpose isn't yet complete with what he wants from her. That could be the case, I think. Then we also had, of course, like I said, Caroline dealing with Sybil, and we ended up getting her as the new history teacher. She's basically compelled all of them. And then she ends up lining him up at the stakes, to be burned like witches. And we find out that she's sort of tied back into the 1790 witch burnings at the church and such, which is a decent tie back to that stuff that we've the history we've heard about before and such. Then we also had more time spent with Matt and his dad. And, that stuff's okay. It's not really getting anywhere, though. Really, all we're getting with that is just Matt, sort of lashing out at his dad again, saying he's making excuses, and, it's decent acting, but I feel like we're just sort of, biding our time before they finally hug it out. We see, flickers of Matt, sort of understanding his father, but then he just sort of stays silent, and, that's it. And of course I understand Matt's perspective, too, but I'm just trying to figure out where they're going to go with this, besides eventually Matt forgiving his dad or something. I don't know. Maybe his dad will end up being killed somehow trying to save Matt or something like that by the end of the season. I don't know. But that kind of sucked for Matt, so maybe they'll keep him alive. Because Matt hasn't really had a lot good going in his life for a while, so who knows. And then another, I said the main part of the episode is Damon and Stefan, of course, and they talk to this girl named Tara, who's working, and she has this past where her parents were killed by a drunk driver, so Stefan sort of, manipulates her into thinking it was Damon, and sort of using it as a morality test. Eventually he does push her to try and kill Damon when he's, supposedly already in the hospital bed. Meanwhile, Stefan's trying to keep the necklace, his necklace away from Damon because it's actually bringing out some of his humanity. And Damon seems hesitant to go after Tara because she does, vaguely resemble Elena. But Damon appears to, throw that out the window, both literally and figuratively, and he does end up killing Tara. After a little bit more hesitation than we've seen from him from, over the past season at least. But I thought it was a pretty good scene when he goes back for the necklace a little bit later, and he talks to one of the inmates, picking up trash. I thought they had a, somewhat enlightening conversation there. I thought that was kind of good. Then we also had Sybil trying to look for this in the garage with Caroline, and it turns out Celine had planned on her trying to find that, so that's been taken. And we also have a new guy running the armory that Rick has left in charge, and Matt meets him. His name's Dorian. One very adoring, and I think Dorian Gray from Penny Dreadful. Very different characters. So it's pretty much the end of the episode. Overall it's a fine episode. Like I said, wasn't one of the best of the season or anything, but it was a fine episode that continues along, I guess. I'm just still kind of eager forward to get to the final couple episodes. I think we all are. But not a bad episode at all. I'm going to give it an 8.4 out of 10, I think, 8.5. I've rated a few episodes higher this season, but I'm trying to be a little bit more tough with the ratings I give out now. But we'll see how it goes. I'm going to give it an 8.4, I think. So let me know what you guys thought about it. Give me a like, subscribe, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.